Imagine waking up groggy, maybe a little disoriented, and the very first thing that comes to mind is that warm, rich, inviting aroma coffee.
Hmm.
For so many of us, it's not just a drink. It's a truly ingrained ritual,
Yeah,
a non-negotiable part of our morning, that essential kickstart to the day.
absolutely. That first cup is sacred for a lot of people.
Right, and we often instinctively think of it as simply a caffeine delivery system, just a way to shake off the sleepies and get our brains firing on all cylinders.
That's the common perception, definitely. The immediate wake-up call.
But is it just the caffeine that offers those, well, sought-after benefits? Or does the coffee itself, the dark, flavorful brew, even the decaffeinated kind, hold valuable health properties that extend far beyond that immediate buzz?
That's the core question we're digging into, isn't it?
Exactly. Today, we're doing a deep dive into something many of us quite literally can't imagine starting our day without: coffee.
It's a big one.
It is. We've gathered a fascinating stack of sources for this mission, from the respected insights of Johns Hopkins medical experts to comprehensive reviews in Stat Pearls, and even an intriguing biochemical exploration into the complex compounds that give coffee its rich color and flavor.
Yeah, a really good mix of clinical and biochemical perspectives.
Our mission is clear: to unpack the latest science, break down the complex compounds lurking in your cup, and give you the nuggets of knowledge you need to be truly well-informed and perhaps even a little surprised about your favorite brew.
Hopefully dispel some myths, too.
Let's hope so. So let's uncork this fascinating topic and dive deep into the world of coffee. Okay, let's unpack this. It seems the case for coffee is stronger than ever. Studies indicate you could be getting more from your favorite morning beverage than you thought.
What's fascinating here, as we begin to unpack the data, is the sheer breadth and consistency of potential benefits observed across different studies regarding coffee consumption. Research consistently links regular coffee intake to a lower risk of death from any cause when compared to individuals who don't drink coffee at all.
From any cause, that's pretty significant.
It is. If we connect this to the bigger picture of public health and longevity, it certainly suggests a significant overall positive association with general well-being and, potentially a longer lifespan.
Wow.
Johns Hopkins nutrition experts have particularly noted that coffee is, well, chock full of substances that may help guard against conditions more common in women, including formidable foes like Alzheimer's disease and various forms of heart disease.
Okay, so specific protection there too.
Exactly. It appears to work by helping to reduce internal inflammation throughout the body and thereby protect against a wide range of chronic illnesses. The key insight here is that coffee isn't just about waking you up. It might actually be a quiet ally for overall longevity.
That's quite a powerful statement, connecting our daily coffee habit to something as profound as overall longevity. It really makes you pause and think about that morning cup in a whole new light. But it's definitely not a one-size-fits-all situation, is it? I imagine there are significant individual factors at play that determine how beneficial coffee truly is for each person.
That's a crucial point to consider. You're absolutely right. The benefits you derive from coffee are highly dependent on a variety of individual factors, and understanding these nuances is essential.
Like what specifically?
Well, this includes how much coffee you typically drink. Is it 1 cup a day or 5? Your age also plays a role in how your body processes its compounds, as does your biological sex.
Ah, okay.
For instance, some benefits might be more pronounced or observed differently between biologically male and female individuals, as our sources indicate for conditions like Alzheimer's.
Right.
Additionally, any medications you take can interact with coffee, and even your unique genetic makeup influences how your body metabolizes caffeine and other coffee compounds.
Genes, too. Interesting.
Yeah, how fast you break down caffeine, for example. Each person's biochemistry processes coffee and its constituents uniquely, which means your perfect cup might look different from someone else's. The takeaway here is that coffee's benefits are personalized. Listen to your own body.
That makes sense. So, beyond just the general health benefits we've discussed, our sources also highlight some pretty specific, almost targeted organ protection.
Yes, that's another really interesting layer.
It's like coffee isn't just broadly good for you. It seems to be offering almost individualized support for some of our most vital internal systems. What did our sources reveal about that?
Let's delve into those specifics, because it's truly remarkable how many organs appear to benefit. For instance, when we look at liver health,
Okay.
both regular and decaf coffee seem to have a protective effect. Studies show that coffee drinkers are more likely to have liver enzyme levels within a healthy range compared to those who don't drink coffee.
Wow, even decaf for the liver. That's good to know.
Exactly. This is a significant finding given the liver's crucial role in detoxification and metabolism.
Absolutely.
Then there's the fascinating impact on our very genetic material, our DNA.
DNA. How does coffee affect DNA?
Well, dark roast coffee, in particular, has been shown to actually decrease breakage in DNA strands.
Get out. Really?
Yeah. Now, these breakages occur naturally within our cells all the time. It's normal wear and tear, so to speak.
Okay.
But if they go unrepaired by your body's cellular machinery, they can potentially lead to mutations that contribute to cancer or tumors.
Right, that makes sense.
So imagine that. Your morning dark roast,
Yeah.
giving your DNA a little bodyguard service. It's almost like a tiny, invisible repair crew getting to work.
That's a powerful and truly surprising benefit, reducing DNA damage. What other surprising organ protection did our sources reveal that might not be on our radar?
Well, beyond DNA protection, researchers have also found compelling evidence regarding colon cancer risk.
Ah, okay, another big one.
A very big one. Coffee drinkers, whether they choose decaf or regular brew, were found to be 26% less likely to develop colorectal cancer.
26%. That's substantial.
It really is. This is particularly relevant as colon cancer remains a significant health concern globally. This reduction in risk is thought to be multifaceted, involving coffee's anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties, as well as its effects on gut motility.
Interesting. So multiple mechanisms possibly at play.
Precisely. Furthermore, coffee may be linked to a lower risk of chronic kidney disease and kidney stones, which are painful and debilitating conditions for many.
Kidneys too. Wow.
There's also a potential link to a lower risk of gallstones, adding another layer of digestive system support.
Okay.
And when it comes to certain other cancers, studies suggest coffee may help protect against cancers of the mouth, throat, and digestive system, although the evidence in these specific areas is not yet entirely conclusive and requires further research.
So still emerging evidence there, but promising.
Exactly. So the takeaway here is that coffee appears to offer a surprisingly wide range of targeted protection for critical organs, from your liver to your DNA, maybe even your kidneys and gallbladder.
Amazing. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. When we think coffee, caffeine is almost certainly the first thing that comes to mind.
Inevitably.
It's that immediate perk-up we all know and often crave, that powerful jolt that makes us reach for that first cup in the morning, or perhaps an afternoon pick-me-up. It's the most famous component, no doubt.
Indeed, and for good reason.
Yeah.
The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, has even formally approved oral caffeine specifically for restoring mental alertness or wakefulness in cases of fatigue or drowsiness.
So it's officially recognized for that?
Absolutely.
Mm.
This approval stems from its well-understood primary mechanism of action, acting as a central nervous system stimulant. To give you some context on its truly widespread use and impact, caffeine is actually the most widely consumed psychoactive drug globally.
The most widely consumed. Wow.
Yep, with approximately 80% of adults consuming it in the United States alone. Its prevalence underscores its powerful and immediate effects on our cognitive functions.
80% is huge. But caffeine's utility goes beyond just waking us up. It has some really surprising and significant therapeutic uses, too, which I found quite fascinating in the sources. It's not just about overcoming that morning grogginess.
That leads us to a crucial point. What else can caffeine do for us beyond that daily alertness? It raises an important question.
Right.
Beyond its recreational use, intravenous caffeine is FDA approved for treating apnea of prematurity in infants.
Oh, wow, in tiny babies.
Yes, this is a serious condition where premature babies temporarily stop breathing. Caffeine helps with extubation, essentially assisting these fragile infants to breathe on their own and mature their respiratory systems.
That's incredible.
Off-label, it's also used for preventing and treating bronchopulmonary dysplasia, a chronic lung disease, in premature infants.
Okay.
For adults, it's used off-label for treating debilitating migraines and post-dural puncture headaches, those severe headaches that can occur after spinal procedures.
I've heard about that for migraines.
Yeah, it provides significant relief for severe head pain. And for those focused on physical prowess, it's widely used off-label for enhancing athletic performance, particularly in endurance sports, by improving focus and reducing perceived exertion.
Ah, the athlete's secret weapon.
Something like that. This remarkable adaptability truly highlights its diverse physiological impacts, showcasing that caffeine is much more than just a wake-up call. The key insight here is that caffeine's therapeutic applications demonstrate its profound and versatile effects on human physiology, far beyond simply boosting alertness.
It seems caffeine might truly be a real ally for our brains as we age, offering some serious protective qualities against some of the most feared neurodegenerative diseases.
It certainly looks that way.
This is particularly relevant given our aging population.
Absolutely. The research in this area is quite compelling. Caffeine is consistently linked to a lower chance of developing Parkinson's disease, a progressive disorder of the nervous system.
Lower chance of Parkinson's, that's huge.
It is. And for individuals already living with the condition, it may even help them better control their movements, offering a tangible improvement in quality of life.
So, potential benefit even after diagnosis.
Potentially, yes.
That-
Furthermore, there are ongoing promising investigations exploring its potential efficacy in treating depression and neurocognitive declines, including those observed in debilitating conditions like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's diseases. This represents a significant area of research and hope.
That's really encouraging.
To put a finer point on it, for women aged 65 and older, drinking 2 to 3 cups of coffee a day was associated with a lower likelihood of developing dementia in general, suggesting a broad protective effect.
2 to 3 cups specifically for older women and dementia, okay?
And to get even more specific, the caffeine found in just 2 cups of coffee may provide significant protection against Alzheimer's disease.
Wow.
A large cohort study further supported this, finding that coffee and caffeine consumption correlated with a reduced risk of dementia in a dose-dependent manner.
Meaning more coffee, more protection. Up to a point.
Exactly, up to a point. Meaning the more consumed, up to a certain level, the greater the protection observed, especially among men in that particular study.
Interesting gender difference there, too.
Yes, though more research is needed. Additionally, beyond preventing decline, caffeinated coffee has been linked to improved mood and a lower risk of depression in some groups, adding a mental health benefit to its neurological profile.
Mood boost, too. That makes sense anecdotally.
Right. The powerful takeaway here is that caffeine is increasingly recognized as a neuroprotectant, potentially helping to safeguard our brain health as we get older.
So if I'm understanding this, caffeine is basically playing a biochemical game of block and stimulate across our entire body, not just our brain.
That's a good way to put it.
It's like it tells our cells, nope, not tired yet, and then gives the heart and other systems a little extra nudge. That's a pretty comprehensive action, isn't it?
It really is.
How does caffeine actually achieve these wide-ranging effects inside our bodies? What's the hidden machinery at play?
You've hit on the core mechanism. Caffeine's primary mechanism is complex, involving several biochemical targets throughout the body. Its main role is functioning as an adenosine receptor antagonist.
Okay, adenosine receptor antagonist. Break that down for us.
Sure. To simplify this, think of adenosine as the body's natural sleep signal or brake pedal chemical.
That makes you sleep chemical.
Precisely. As you go about your day, adenosine gradually builds up in your brain, binding to specific receptors and signaling your body to wind down and feel tired.
Okay.
Caffeine essentially blocks these receptors. It fits into them like a key in the wrong lock, preventing adenosine from binding.
So it stops the sleepy signal from getting through.
Exactly, thereby taking your foot off the brake, preventing drowsiness and promoting wakefulness. What's crucial to understand is that these adenosine receptors are present throughout the body, not just concentrated in the central nervous system.
Oh, so not just the brain.
Nope. Which helps explain caffeine's broad systemic effects. The key insight here is that caffeine isn't just a brain stimulator. It's a systemic operator, impacting everything from your heart rate to your fat metabolism by essentially flipping the tired switch off across your whole body.
Fascinating. So it's acting everywhere adenosine receptors are found.
Pretty much. Delving a bit deeper into this widespread action, when caffeine blocks these adenosine receptors in various parts of the body, it triggers different responses. For example, when it blocks specific adenosine receptors in cardiac muscles.
In the heart.
Yes. It can result in what are called positive inotropic effects, essentially increasing the force of heart muscle contraction.
Making the heart beat stronger.
A bit stronger, yes. It also kicks off a chain reaction that stimulates the release of stress hormones, like catecholamines, think adrenaline, and noradrenaline.
Ah, the adrenaline rush.
Exactly. These contribute to the overall stimulatory effects we feel and further increase both the force and rate of heart contraction. This is why you might feel your heart racing a bit after a strong cup.
That makes perfect sense. What about blood vessels?
Good question. At the vascular level, meaning within our blood vessels, caffeine directly interacts with vascular adenosine receptors. This can promote vasodilation, which is the widening of blood vessels.
Wait, widening? I thought it constricted things.
It's complex. While the adrenaline effect might cause some constriction initially, caffeine's direct action on some receptors can promote vasodilation. It also stimulates certain cells, endothelial cells, to release nitric oxide, a compound that further relaxes vascular smooth muscle cells.
So it has opposing effects, almost.
In a way, yes. It's quite intricate, often promoting relaxation in the long term, which balances out some of its other effects. It's not straightforward.
Okay, complex interactions there. What else is it doing?
Furthermore, at higher doses, caffeine acts as an inhibitor for an enzyme called phosphodiesterase.
Phosphodiesterase, okay.
This enzyme's job is to break down cyclic adenosine monophosphate, or CANMP.
CAN-MP, I remember that from biology.
Right, it's a vital internal messenger in many cellular processes. By inhibiting the enzyme that breaks down CAMP, caffeine raises intracellular CAMP levels. Think of this as turning up the volume on a cellular signal.
Okay, more CAMP signal. What does that do?
This, in turn, promotes the release of various important neurotransmitters, including dopamine, noradrenaline, and serotonin, all of which significantly contribute to the stimulant effects we associate with caffeine, impacting mood, alertness, and reward pathways.
Ah, the feel-good and alert chemicals.
Exactly. Elevated CAMP also activates something called hormone-sensitive lipase in our fat tissue, promoting lipolysis, or the breakdown of fats for energy.
So it helps burn fat.
It promotes the process, yes. This is why caffeine is often found in weight loss supplements.
Right, I've seen that.
Interestingly, when caffeine's actions were first being understood, it was thought to primarily involve intracellular calcium mobilization.
Calcium released inside cells.
Yeah. While it does increase catecholamine levels and affects the release of calcium within cells, impacting muscle contraction force and electrical conduction, our understanding has evolved. We now recognize the adenosine receptor antagonism as its primary overarching mechanism.
So the adenosine blocking is the main event.
That's the current understanding, yes. So in summary, caffeine's competitive inhibition of adenosine receptors, along with increasing neuronal activity and releasing key brain chemicals like dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin, ultimately leads to higher levels of circulating catecholamines, producing that overall stimulatory wake-up effect that we all recognize.
That's a really comprehensive picture of how caffeine works on a biochemical level. It's doing so much more than just a simple jolt.
Definitely, it's a busy molecule.
But as fascinating as caffeine is, what truly surprised me in our research was how much of coffee's magic comes from compounds beyond the buzz, especially its incredible antioxidant profile.
Ah, yes, this is crucial.
This is where the story gets even richer, I think.
Here's where it truly gets interesting. Coffee is, in fact, a remarkably significant source of antioxidants.
More than I expected.
Oh, yeah. Often surpassing other popular beverages we associate with health, like green tea and even hot chocolate, in its total antioxidant content.
Really? More than green tea? Wow.
In terms of total antioxidant capacity, often yes. It's not just a beverage. It's a rich chemical cocktail containing over 100 polyphenols and other nutrients that actively combat inflammation and neutralize harmful free radicals.
Free radicals, those are the bad guys, right? The unstable molecules.
Exactly. They can damage cells, contributing to aging, chronic diseases, and even cancer. These antioxidants act like your body's personal shield.
A shield in my coffee cup, like that.
To give you an idea of their prevalence, unprocessed coffee beans alone boasted a remarkably rich phytochemical profile with around 1,000 identified antioxidants. It's a natural treasure trove.
1,000 in the raw bean. Incredible.
And for many individuals following a typical American diet, coffee actually stands out as a leading source of daily antioxidant intake, surprisingly so.
Leading source. More than fruits and vegetables for some people.
For antioxidants specifically, yes. For many people, it is a major contributor, sometimes the top one, depending on the rest of their diet. Just a modest 200 milliliter serving, that's roughly a small cup can, offer around 387 milligrams of antioxidants.
Wow.
With beneficial compounds like flavonoids, further enhancing these protective properties. The sheer volume and variety of these protective compounds are what make coffee so uniquely potent.
That's a surprising amount of beneficial compounds. It really makes you appreciate the complexity in your cup. How does the way we process and brew coffee affect these antioxidants? Does a dark roast have more or less than a light roast, for example? It feels like there should be some trade-offs.
That's an excellent and very practical question, as processing definitely plays a significant role. Generally, light roasts tend to retain more of certain antioxidants, particularly compounds like chlorogenic acids, compared to medium and dark roasts.
Okay, so light roast for chlorogenic acids.
Generally, yes. So if your primary goal is maximizing chlorogenic acid intake, a lighter roast might be preferable. However, it's not a simple case of more is always better or a direct trade-off for all compounds.
Ah, okay. It's more complicated.
It is. The roasting process itself is a complex chemical transformation. While some initial antioxidants might decrease, new and equally potent antioxidant compounds called melanoidins are actually formed during roasting.
Melanoidins, we'll get to those.
Yes, and their concentration typically increases with darker roasts. So darker roasts gain different types of beneficial compounds.
So light roast keeps some, dark roast creates others. Interesting.
Exactly. Another important antioxidant, trigonelline, partially degrades during roasting. But this degradation is what contributes significantly to coffee's incredibly complex and beloved flavor profile.
So losing some antioxidants creates flavor.
Part of it, yes. So despite the reduction in some initial antioxidants, roasting introduces new compounds that collectively support coffee's overall powerful antioxidant activity.
Okay, so it balances out in a way.
To some extent. Furthermore, the brewing method also influences the final antioxidant content in your cup.
How so? Like drip versus French press.
Exactly. For instance, methods like the AeroPress are noted for yielding higher levels of antioxidant extraction, largely due to its pressure-based immersion process.
Ah, the pressure helps.
It seems so. In contrast, methods like a French press, where the coffee grounds are steeped for longer but perhaps with less agitation, may result in slightly lower antioxidant extraction.
Okay, good to know.
So, from roast level to brewing technique, every step subtly shapes the final healthy concoction in your mug. The key insight here is that coffee's antioxidant profile is robust across various preparations, though the specific types and amounts may shift with roasting and brewing.
Melanoidins sound a bit mysterious, almost like a secret ingredient, but they're clearly a big player in coffee's health story. Can you explain more about these compounds? What exactly are they, and how do they end up in our coffee?
Melanoidins are truly fascinating compounds, and they are far from mysterious once you understand their origin. They are the brown pigments that are thermally generated during what's known as the non-enzymatic Maillard reaction.
The Maillard reaction, that's what makes toast brown, right? And steak sear.
Precisely. It's the same chemical reaction that gives many baked and roasted foods their typical golden brown color and rich aroma. Coffee is considered their absolute main source in the human diet, making your daily cup a unique dietary contributor.
Main source in the whole diet. Wow.
Yep. These compounds constitute a substantial portion of roasted coffee's dry weight, ranging between 23–25% and an even higher percentage, 29–30%, of the dry weight extracted from the coffee drink itself.
So almost a third of what's in the cup by weight.
Of the dry extracted weight, yes, it's significant. While their precise molecular structure is incredibly complex and varies, they are undeniably a significant and active component of your daily cup of coffee. The key insight here is that melanoidins are coffee's unique Maillard reaction products, giving it color and powerful health properties distinct from those in raw beans.
Okay, so they're complex polymers formed during roasting.
Exactly. Their formation involves complex mixtures of polymers, large repeating chains of molecules, including carbohydrates, proteins, amino acids, and even some chlorogenic acids.
A real mix.
It is. The precise amount of melanoidins in your coffee varies based on several factors. The concentration of their precursors in the raw bean, the specific coffee species like Arabica versus Robusta, the degree and type of roast, light versus dark, and even the infusion method you use.
So lots of variables.
For example, some melanoidins, called melatoproteins, are formed from sugar degradation products reacting with proteins during roasting. Other types are produced when specific dicarbonyl groups condense with high molecular weight polysaccharides that are components of the coffee bean's cell wall.
Okay, different types forming in different ways.
Right. There's also evidence of melanoidins interacting with phenolic compounds, such as chlorogenic acids or their derivatives, forming what are known as melanochlorogenic complexes, which also contribute significantly to the coffee's antioxidant properties.
So they even incorporate some of those other antioxidants.
Some, yes. It's quite intricate. Interestingly, even though raw coffee beans can contain up to 10% chlorogenic acids, less than 1% of these are actually incorporated into the molecular structure of melanoidins because the majority degrade during the intense roasting process.
So most chlorogenic acids break down, but a tiny bit gets built into these new melanoidins.
That seems to be the case.
So these melanoidins are a major and complex part of coffee's makeup, formed through the very process that gives coffee its iconic flavor and color. Given their prevalence, what kind of impact do they have on our health, especially regarding gut health, which is such a hot topic these days?
Gut health, yes.
It seems like this could be a big area of benefit.
If we connect this to the bigger picture of internal health, particularly our gut, melanoidins have quite a diverse and beneficial impact. The average daily consumption is typically between 1 to 2 grams for a regular coffee drinker.
Okay, couple of grams a day.
But for heavy coffee drinkers consuming 6 or more cups a day, that intake can actually reach up to 5 grams, making them a significant dietary component.
5 grams is quite a bit.
It is. While they aren't dietary fiber per se, meaning they're not classified as plant polysaccharides in the traditional sense, they share many characteristics with soluble dietary fiber.
Like fiber, but not technically fiber. Okay.
Right. They are not easily digested in the upper gastrointestinal tract and can contribute significantly to daily dietary fiber requirements, particularly the soluble fractions that remain in the brewed coffee.
Interesting. So how do they help the gut specifically?
What's truly interesting for gut health is that these high molecular weight melanoidins are not digested or absorbed in the small intestine. Instead, due to their size and resistance to breakdown, they travel intact into the large intestine, or colon.
Okay, down to the colon.
Here, they become a feast for the microorganisms that make up our gut microbiome. They're fermented by these beneficial bacteria.
Food for the good bugs.
Exactly. And this process is highly advantageous as it promotes gastrointestinal motility, which can effectively help alleviate common issues like constipation.
Helps keeps things moving.
Yes. Furthermore, they exert a powerful prebiotic effect. Think of them as fertilizer for your good gut bugs.
Okay, prebiotics.
They can regulate intestinal microflora by specifically increasing beneficial bacteria, like Bifidobacterium spp, while simultaneously reducing populations of potentially pathogenic bacteria, such as Escherichia coli and Clostridium spp.
So they boost the good guys and suppress the bad guys.
That's the idea. It's a remarkable way to foster a healthier, more balanced gut ecosystem.
That's a huge benefit for gut microbiome balance. It sounds like coffee is nurturing our internal ecosystem. Does this effect also extend to directly combating harmful bacteria in the gut, or is it more about fostering beneficial ones?
That's an astute question, and yes, they do have direct antibacterial properties as well.
Oh, they fight bacteria directly too.
It seems so. At low concentrations, melanoidins exert a bacteriostatic effect on various digestive tract bacteria, both gram-negative and gram-positive.
Bacteriostatic meaning they stop them from multiplying.
Exactly. They inhibit the growth and reproduction of these bacteria,
Yeah.
essentially putting a pause on their activity. This effect is possibly due to their chelating capacity.
Chelating, binding things up.
Yes, where they bind with essential metal ions that bacteria need for growth and survival, effectively making those nutrients unavailable. What's more, this bacteriostatic effect is found to be greater with higher roast degrees and with higher molecular weight molecules.
So darker roasts might be better at this.
Potentially, for this specific effect, yes, indicating that darker roasts might have a stronger, immediate antibacterial action. At even higher concentrations, they can become bactericidal, actively killing bacteria.
Killing them outright. How?
This potent effect is thought to be related to their ability to chelate magnesium ions from bacterial cell membranes, which can cause the membranes to rupture, leading to bacterial cell death.
Wow, that's quite aggressive.
So they both feed the good and fight the bad, a double whammy for gut health.
Beyond gut health and antibacterial action, I recall some mentions in our sources of powerful antioxidant and even anti-cancer properties for these melanoidins. It feels like these compounds are truly multi-talented. Can you expand on those?
Absolutely. This is where melanoidins truly shine in terms of broad health benefits, extending their impact far beyond the gut. They are responsible for a significant portion, approximately 26 to 38% of the coffee drink's total antioxidant capacity.
A third or more of the antioxidant power comes just from them.
Roughly, yes. They work by inhibiting lipid oxidation, which is a process where harmful free radicals attack fats in our cells, leading to damage.
Protecting our cell fats.
Exactly. Melanoidins do this by transferring hydrogen ions to free radicals, effectively turning them into stable, non-reactive molecules that can no longer cause harm. This remarkable capacity is partly attributed to the chlorogenic acids in arabinoxyloxanes that are bound within their complex molecular structure.
So those incorporated bits help too.
Yes. What's truly remarkable is that they can inhibit free radical production even at the stomach level, offering protection early in the digestive process.
Protection right from the start. Nice.
In terms of anti-cancer properties, research indicates that melanoidins can inhibit metalloprotease matrices, or MMPs.
MMPs, what are those again?
Now, these MMPs are like tiny molecular scissors that cancerous cells sometimes use to cut through healthy tissue and spread throughout the body, a process called metastasis.
Ah, the things that help cancer spread.
Right. So by inhibiting these MMPs, coffee's melanoidins essentially blunt the cancer's ability to invade and metastasize, especially in the colon. This suggests a powerful protective effect against colon cancer in humans.
Wow, stopping cancer spread. That's significant.
It really is. Studies have even shown that daily consumption of around 600 milliliters of coffee, about 2 large cups, for 5 consecutive days can protect human lymphocytes' DNA from damage caused by free radicals, linking back to their antioxidant activity.
Protecting immune cell DNA, too.
So in summary, melanoidins contribute to preventing colon cancer through multiple avenues. By increasing intestinal motility for rapid carcinogen elimination through their beneficial prebiotic effect on gut bacteria, and by directly absorbing and neutralizing harmful free radicals before they can damage cells. The key insight here is that melanoidins are coffee's multifunctional shield, actively working against oxidative stress and even cancer spread.
Incredible stuff. What else can they do? You mentioned chelation earlier.
Yes, additionally, melanoidins possess a remarkable chelating capacity due to their negative charge. This allows them to couple with positively charged ions or cations, like acrylamide.
Acrylamide, the stuff in burnt toast.
That's the one, a potentially harmful compound formed in some roasted foods. They also bind essential transition metal ions, such as iron, magnesium, and copper, forming inactive complexes.
Binding up metals, is that good or bad?
It can be both. The chelation of copper is particularly important because excess copper in the body can induce oxidative stress. So binding excess copper is good. The chelation of iron and magnesium also contributes to their antimicrobial effect we discussed earlier by starving bacteria of these nutrients.
Right, the antibacterial effect.
Another fascinating property is their antihypertensive capacity.
Lowering blood pressure. How?
Melanoidins show this effect by inhibiting angiotensin-converting enzyme, or ACE.
ACE inhibitors, like the blood pressure drugs.
Exactly, they inhibit the same enzyme. The prevailing hypothesis is that they sequester zinc ions, which are necessary for ACE activation, thereby helping to control blood pressure.
Wow. Coffee compounds acting like blood pressure medication. Amazing.
It's quite remarkable.
That's truly incredible. So many layers of benefit from these unique compounds. It really underscores how much more there is to coffee than just caffeine. But I did see a caution in our sources about excessive consumption of coffee and potential anti-nutritional effects related to these very melanoidins. So it's not an unlimited good, is it?
That's a very important caveat. Indeed, while melanoidins are highly beneficial, their consumption, especially in excessive amounts, should be taken with caution. There's a potential for what are called anti-nutritional effects.
Anti-nutritional, what does that mean?
Specifically, they can lead to deficiencies in certain essential minerals like calcium and iron.
Oh, by binding them up too strongly.
Precisely. This occurs because melanoidins can bind with these minerals, causing their precipitation. When they precipitate, they become indigestible and are not absorbed by your body, effectively leading to a deficiency over time if intake is very high and mineral intake isn't sufficient.
So they bind the good minerals along with the bad metals.
Potentially, yes, at very high concentrations. This underscores a crucial principle in nutrition. Even good things need to be consumed in moderation to maintain balance and avoid unintended consequences. The takeaway here is that while coffee offers incredible benefits, balance is key. Too much of a good thing can sometimes lead to unforeseen issues.
Moderation in all things, even coffee. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a big question for many of us who enjoy the taste of coffee but want to limit or avoid caffeine, perhaps due to sensitivity or just wanting to wind down in the evening.
The decaf question always comes up.
Right. Does decaf still deliver these impressive benefits we've been discussing, particularly the antioxidant and melanoidin effects? Or are we missing out on the good stuff if we skip the caffeine?
That's a critically important question that comes up frequently. And the good news is, generally, yes. Decaffeinated coffee is also a major source of antioxidants in Western diets, providing a substantial portion of these protective compounds.
Okay, that's great news.
Both decaffeinated and caffeinated coffee contain key antioxidant compounds like hydrocyanamic acids and polyphenols. Crucially, the decaffeination process generally does not significantly alter or strip away these beneficial properties.
So the process doesn't destroy the good stuff.
Mostly no. There might be slight reductions in some compounds, depending on the method, but overall, it retains a lot. In fact, some research suggests that decaffeinated coffee is thought to be as beneficial, if not more so, for reducing the risk of diabetes.
More beneficial for diabetes risk. Interesting.
Yes, indicating that many of its metabolic benefits are independent of caffeine. So for those limiting caffeine intake, decaf offers significant antioxidant and other health benefits, such as liver protection and reduced colon cancer risk without the stimulating effects of caffeine.
So you still get liver protection and colon cancer risk reduction with decaf.
The evidence points that way, yes.
Yeah.
This means you can still tap into a substantial portion of coffee's wellness power, even without the buzz.
Fantastic. That answers a big question for many people.
It's worth reiterating, though, that the term decaffeinated doesn't mean entirely caffeine-free.
Ah, right. There's still a little bit left.
Usually, yes. It typically contains a small residual amount, usually between 2 to 15 milligrams of caffeine in an 8-fluid-ounce cup.
Compared to about 95 in regular.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Significantly less, but not zero. So, highly sensitive individuals who react to even trace amounts may still need to be cautious, especially with multiple cups. But for the vast majority, decaf remains a very healthy choice.
Good point for these super sensitive folks.
The clear takeaway here is that decaf coffee retains a strong health profile, proving that coffee's benefits extend far beyond just its caffeine content.
Okay, let's pivot to another area where coffee gets a lot of attention, sometimes worry, the heart.
Ah, yes, the cardiovascular effects.
We often hear a common concern about coffee raising blood pressure. For many, this is a major worry, especially if they have pre-existing heart conditions or are trying to manage their cardiovascular health. Is that something we should be genuinely worried about in the long term for heart health?
It's a complex picture, and the narrative around coffee and blood pressure is often oversimplified, leading to unnecessary concern. Caffeine, particularly at high concentrations or in individuals not habituated to it.
People who don't drink it often.
Right. It can indeed act as a vasoconstrictor, meaning it narrows blood vessels, and may cause an immediate, sharp, but transient rise in blood pressure.
Transient meaning temporary.
Yes, usually temporary. This acute effect is usually mild and temporary for most healthy individuals. However, what's crucial to understand is that most observational data seldom supports a long-term influence of regular coffee consumption on persistently rising blood pressure or the development of chronic hypertension.
Okay, so the immediate spike doesn't seem to lead to long-term high blood pressure for most people.
That's what the bulk of the observational evidence suggests. In fact, some studies show that regular light and moderate coffee drinkers demonstrate lower arterial rigidity and lower peripheral and central blood pressure compared to non-habitual users.
Lower blood pressure in regular drinkers. How does that work?
It suggests a potential adaptive or even protective effect over time for consistent drinkers. The body might adjust, or other compounds in coffee might counteract the acute caffeine effect long term. Let's unpack the mechanism slightly. Caffeine does stimulate the sympathetic nervous system, our fight-or-flight response, which can indeed affect peripheral vascular resistance and arterial stiffness acutely.
Okay.
However, its effect on endothelial function, which involves the lining of our blood vessels, and its ability to produce important vasodilators like nitric oxide, is quite complex, acting as both a stimulator and, in some very specific contexts, an inhibitor. Remember the vasodilation point earlier?
Right, the mixed effects on blood vessels.
Exactly. So it's not as straightforward as simply coffee raises blood pressure. The body's adaptive responses and the multifaceted actions of coffee's other compounds, like those polyphenols and maybe even melanoidins, likely contribute to this nuanced long-term outcome. The key insight here is that while coffee can cause a temporary blood pressure spike, evidence doesn't support it as a cause of long-term hypertension for most regular drinkers.
Okay, that's reassuring for many. Now, this is where the conversation gets really interesting and, frankly, a bit confusing for many people. Some sources or anecdotal experiences suggest coffee causes heart palpitations or arrhythmias, those irregular heartbeats.
The palpitations concern, yes.
While other, newer research, like what we found, seems to suggest it's actually protective. What's the real story here? How do we reconcile these seemingly contradictory findings?
You're absolutely right. There remains significant controversy surrounding caffeine's potential risks, particularly concerning arrhythmias. It's a deeply ingrained perception that coffee is a trigger for irregular heartbeats.
Many doctors used to advise against it for heart patients, right?
Historically, yes, often out of an abundance of caution. While the activation of the sympathetic nervous system, especially with very high or acutely consumed coffee intake, may be linked to arrhythmia risk for some susceptible individuals, several large-scale epidemiological studies and meta-analyses actually contradict this common perception for the general population.
So the big studies show something different.
Often, yes. Let's look at the specific types of arrhythmias to clarify this. For atrial fibrillation, or AFib,
The most common one.
exactly, which affects millions globally. What's fascinating here is that despite its lingering bad reputation, epidemiological studies, those large population-level observations, suggest that moderate caffeine consumption may actually reduce the chance of developing AFib.
Reduce the chance, not increase it.
Correct. Many extensive observational investigations have shown that people who consume moderate levels of caffeine, as opposed to those who consume less or abstain entirely, appear to be at a lower risk of AFib.
Wow. Any specific numbers?
For example, one compelling study found that AFib incidence decreased significantly with increasing caffeine intake, dropping from 10.2% in the lowest intake group to just 2.2% in the highest.
That's a huge drop.
It is. Another landmark study, the Physicians' Health Study, indicated that males consuming 1 to 3 cups of coffee a day had a lower risk of atrial fibrillation compared to non-drinkers.
1 to 3 cups seems like a sweet spot there.
It often appears that way in studies. A comprehensive meta-analysis further depicted that moderate caffeine intake reduced AFib risk, and it was even found that the incidence of AFib falls by 6% for every 300 milligrams per day increase in habitual caffeine intake.
So a clear dose-response relationship suggesting protection.
That's what that analysis found, yes.
So what did the official guidelines say now?
This body of evidence is so compelling that the 2023 guidelines from major heart associations like the American College of Cardiology, ACC, and the American Heart Association, AHA, explicitly state that advising patients with atrial fibrillation to abstain from caffeine to prevent episodes lacks supporting evidence.
Wow. That's a direct contradiction of old advice.
It's a huge shift in medical consensus based on accumulated data. However, they do pragmatically note that caffeine avoidance may alleviate symptoms in patients who perceive that caffeine exacerbates their AFib symptoms.
The perception factor, if you think it triggers you.
Right. It highlights the power of individual perception and the placebo-nocebo effect. It's also worth noting that self-reported triggers in symptomatic AFib patients do commonly include alcohol, caffeine, exercise, and lack of sleep, with women often being more symptomatic. So for some individuals, the perception of caffeine as a trigger might influence their experience, even if the general population data doesn't support a direct causation.
That's a really important distinction. What about other types of arrhythmias, like ventricular ones?
Good question. Now, for ventricular arrhythmias, which are irregular heart rhythms originating in the lower chambers of the heart and can sometimes be more serious,
Right.
the evidence is even clearer and more reassuring. A systematic review and meta-analysis of interventional studies, meaning studies where caffeine intake was controlled, found no strong associations between caffeine consumption and these irregular heart rhythms.
No strong link found in controlled studies.
Okay. The overall relative risk for the occurrence of ventricular premature beats, or VPBs, a common type of ventricular arrhythmia, attributed to caffeine exposure was 1.000.
1.00 meaning no difference.
Exactly. No increased risk compared to no caffeine exposure in those studies. So overall, while the mechanisms are complex and relate to factors like acute catecholamine release, the overwhelming majority of robust research indicates that moderate caffeine consumption is not strongly linked to heart arrhythmias. And, in fact, limited but growing studies suggest it may actually reduce the risk of certain types of arrhythmias like AFib.
That's genuinely surprising and really good news.
The powerful takeaway here is that for most people, the long-held fear of coffee causing arrhythmias is largely unfounded, and it might even offer some cardiac protection.
So it sounds like for most people, the heart risks are largely overstated, which is really great news for coffee lovers everywhere. But you did mention that individual tolerance varies significantly, and we all know someone who reacts badly to caffeine.
Absolutely, that individual variation is key.
So who are those high-risk populations, or what are the scenarios where someone might need to be more cautious or even avoid caffeine altogether?
That's a crucial point. Individual tolerance to caffeine can vary significantly, often due to genetic factors influencing how quickly your body metabolizes it. What's a perfectly safe or even beneficial amount for one person might indeed cause discomfort or even health issues for another.
Makes sense.
Excessive intake of caffeinated coffee or a dose that's simply too high for your body can definitely make you feel jittery, cause an increased heart rate, temporarily raise blood pressure, induce anxiety, and lead to trouble falling asleep. These are common signs you've had too much for your system.
The classic too much coffee feeling.
Right. Now let's look at specific groups that require special consideration. Pregnant or breastfeeding individuals, for instance, should always consult their obstetrician or healthcare provider before adding significant caffeine to their diet.
Why is that?
This is due to potential links between very high maternal caffeine intake and risks such as low birth weight or, in rare cases, pregnancy loss. The recommendation is usually to limit intake significantly or avoid it.
Okay, caution during pregnancy is standard.
For infants, while caffeine citrate is FDA approved for apnea of prematurity in a carefully controlled medical setting, there's also an increased risk of necrotizing enterocolitis, a serious intestinal condition, in neonates receiving it. So its use is strictly monitored in hospitals.
Right, very specific medical use there.
Individuals with pre-existing cardiac disorders, especially certain arrhythmias not covered by our previous discussion or structural heart issues, along with those suffering from panic disorder, generalized anxiety, or consistently elevated stress levels, should generally be advised to avoid caffeine.
Because it can make symptoms worse.
Exactly. It can exacerbate their symptoms, leading to increased heart rate, palpitations, and heightened feelings of anxiety or panic.
Okay, who else?
Similarly, patients with long QT syndrome, LQTS, a serious heart rhythm disorder that can lead to sudden cardiac events, should be particularly wary of energy drink consumption. These drinks have been shown to lead to dangerous changes in their heart's electrical activity.
Energy drinks specifically seem risky there.
Yes, and that effect might be due to other substances like taurine or the very high, rapid caffeine doses often found in energy drinks, not just moderate coffee consumption.
Got it.
Similarly, for minors, energy drinks have been shown to cause changes in electrocardiograms and, in some rare cases, induce malignant dysrhythmias. This points to caution with these highly concentrated beverages, which often contain more than just caffeine.
So kids and energy drinks are a bad mix.
Generally advised against, yes.
Yeah.
Finally, mental health sufferers and athletes are also identified as potentially having an increased risk of arrhythmias following caffeine consumption, especially when caffeine is combined with certain psychiatric medications or during intense physical exertion.
So interactions with meds or extreme exertion can be a factor.
Is something to be aware of. It's also vital for everyone to be acutely aware of the dangers of caffeine toxicity, sometimes colloquially referred to as caffeineism.
Caffeineism, like caffeine poisoning.
Essentially, yes. While moderate amounts from beverages like coffee are generally safe, the increasing prevalence and consumption of high-energy drinks containing excessively high amounts of caffeine has sadly escalated the problem of caffeine toxicity.
So energy drinks are a big part of this problem.
They contribute significantly. Symptoms typically include a range of uncomfortable effects: severe anxiety, agitation, restlessness, sleeplessness, gastrointestinal disorders like nausea or diarrhea, and tremors.
Sounds awful.
In rare, severe cases, caffeine toxicity can be fatal, usually associated with life-threatening cardiac arrhythmia, severe hypotension, low blood pressure, or myocardial infarction, heart attack.
Fatal from caffeine.
It's rare, but yes, usually from massive overdoses, often involving concentrated products. For perspective, rapid consumption of around 1,200 milligrams of pure caffeine, which is an incredibly potent dose, less than half a teaspoon of powdered caffeine, can lead to toxic effects like seizures.
Pure caffeine powder sounds incredibly dangerous.
It is. Pure or highly concentrated caffeine products, often sold online as powders or liquids, have been explicitly linked to serious health consequences, including death, because it's nearly impossible to measure a safe dose accurately.
Scary stuff. Stay away from those.
Absolutely. This highlights the critical importance of understanding dosage and source, especially with such dangerous concentrated caffeine products available on the market. The ultimate takeaway is to know your body, respect your limits, and be acutely aware of where your caffeine is coming from, especially outside of regular coffee or tea.
That's a comprehensive and incredibly important overview of the risks. It really emphasizes that while coffee is generally beneficial, it's not without its specific considerations for certain individuals and in certain forms. With all this information, for most healthy adults, what's generally considered the sweet spot for coffee consumption? What are the recommended intake guidelines to maximize benefits and minimize risks?
Good question. For most healthy adults, the consensus among major health authorities like the Dietary Guidelines for Americans and the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, is that it's generally safe to drink 3 to 5 cups of coffee a day.
3 to 5 cups. Okay.
This corresponds to a maximum daily intake of around 400 milligrams of caffeine. To put that into practical perspective, an average 8-ounce cup of brewed coffee typically has about 95 milligrams of caffeine. So 4 cups would be around 380 milligrams, fitting comfortably within that guideline.
So that 400 milligram limit is key.
It's the generally accepted upper limit for most healthy adults. This recommendation is widely supported by systematic reviews of numerous studies, confirming the safety of this level for the vast majority of adults. It's a well-researched sweet spot where the benefits generally outweigh potential risks.
Okay, 3 to 5 cups under 400 milligrams. Got it.
And just as a final reminder, it's worth reiterating that while we often say decaffeinated coffee, it does not mean entirely caffeine-free.
Right, the 2 to 15 milligrams.
Yes, exactly. Usually ranging from 2 to 15 milligrams of caffeine per 8-ounce cup. Significantly less than regular coffee, but not zero. So highly sensitive individuals who react to even trace amounts may still need to be cautious with decaf too, especially if consumed in large quantities.
Good reminder.
The key takeaway is that for most, moderate coffee consumption is a safe and beneficial habit, but individual sensitivity and overall caffeine intake from all sources should always be considered.
Right, thinking about caffeine and soda or tea too. Okay, beyond the coffee itself, what we add to it or combine it with seems to be a significant factor in its overall health impact.
Oh, hugely significant.
We've talked about all these amazing compounds, but if we're drowning them in sugar and cream, are we negating all those benefits? What should we be mindful of there to truly optimize our coffee consumption?
You've hit on a critical point. Indeed, what you add to your coffee can drastically alter how healthy the beverage truly is. While coffee itself is a powerhouse of beneficial compounds, loading it up with excessive amounts of added cream, sugary syrups, or refined sugar can unfortunately counteract many of the health benefits we've meticulously discussed.
So the fancy coffee shop drinks might be canceling out the good stuff.
They certainly can. These additions contribute empty calories, saturated fat, and excess sugar, which can lead to weight gain, inflammation, and an increased risk of chronic diseases, effectively overshadowing coffee's positive attributes.
Okay, so how do we keep it healthy?
To optimize your coffee consumption, consider healthier additions. Instead of heaping spoonfuls of sugar, try adding up to 2 tablespoons of milk. A milk substitute like almond or oat milk, or a modest amount of half and half.
A little bit of dairy or non-dairy is okay.
Generally, yes, in moderation. For flavor without the excess sugar, naturally sweet spices and flavorings can be excellent additions. Think about a dash of vanilla extract, a pinch of aromatic cardamom, a sprinkle of warming cinnamon, or a spoonful of unsweetened cocoa powder.
Ah, spices instead of sugar. Good idea.
These can add depth and delight to your coffee experience without sabotaging its health potential. For instance, we found a delicious and health-conscious iced pumpkin spice latte smoothie recipe that cleverly uses brewed coffee, milk, pumpkin pie spice, vanilla, pumpkin puree, and ice.
Ooh, sounds good.
With only a small quantity of pure maple syrup if a touch of sweetener is absolutely necessary. It's about finding flavor in healthier ways.
Makes sense. Be creative with spices.
Also, it's vital to be acutely aware of other sources of caffeine in your daily diet. Many people forget to account for the caffeine lurking in soft drinks, energy drinks, certain snacks like chocolate-covered coffee beans, and even various dietary supplements or over-the-counter medications.
Right, it all adds up towards that 400 milligram limit.
Exactly. Your body processes natural caffeine from coffee and added caffeine from other sources in the exact same way. The danger escalates significantly when caffeine, especially from concentrated sources like high-energy drinks, is combined with other illicit substances, such as tobacco and alcohol.
Oh, mixing caffeine with alcohol or smoking?
Yes, creating a potentially dangerous cocktail for your cardiovascular and nervous systems. Ultimately, while coffee is undoubtedly a delightful and beneficial addition to your lifestyle, remember that it's one piece of a larger puzzle.
It's not a magic bullet.
Definitely not. Eating a balanced diet rich in whole foods, engaging in regular physical exercise, and maintaining a healthy weight make a much bigger, more fundamental and holistic impact on your overall health and well-being. Coffee is a wonderful complement, but it's not a substitute for a healthy lifestyle.
Excellent point. Coffee helps, but lifestyle is king. So what does this all mean when we bring all these fascinating insights together? We've seen that coffee is far, far more than just a simple stimulant.
So much more.
It's a truly complex brew, a chemical marvel rich in antioxidants and a surprising array of other unique compounds, like those mysterious melanoidins. These elements offer an incredible, surprising array of health benefits, from protecting your liver and even your very DNA to potentially lowering your risk for debilitating diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, and even certain cancers of the colon and digestive system.
Quite the list of potential benefits.
It really is. While caffeine undeniably provides that significant boost to alertness and offers its own distinct set of therapeutic advantages, from aiding premature infants to battling migraines, it's clear that coffee's non-caffeine components, particularly those potent melanoidins and versatile polyphenols, contribute profoundly to its overall health profile.
Demonstrating that even decaf versions offer substantial value.
Exactly. Even decaf holds its own. And when it comes to your heart, the narrative, while nuanced, is increasingly reassuring, with much robust research suggesting moderate consumption might actually be protective against arrhythmias like atrial fibrillation rather than harmful.
Though individual sensitivities are always a key factor.
Always key. So given coffee's truly complex chemistry, its surprisingly varied effects across individuals, and its deep roots in cultures worldwide, perhaps the next time you hold that steaming, fragrant cup in your hands, you might not just be sipping a beverage. You might actually be engaging in a personalized biochemical experiment, a daily ritual that subtly interacts with your unique physiology in countless ways we're only just beginning to fully understand.
A fascinating thought.
What new insights might you uncover about your own unique relationship with coffee, and how could that knowledge truly enhance your well-being in ways you never expected?